In this video, I'll be covering the cycle finder. As I mentioned in the previous videos, this uses the same logic as the pattern finder and the Fibonacci projection tool. This indicator will actually illustrate exactly where turning points are likely to happen. And the cycle finder itself, the philosophy behind it, is to try to look for Fibonacci clusters. I'll explain this in just a few minutes, to locate points on the chart that are likely to be turning points, even up or down. There are three different types of cycles that I'm going to discuss. Obvious, a bottom cycle, a top cycle, and I've argued for decades that there's also something called a continuation cycle that happens mid-cycle between a major high and a major low, or a major low and a major high, depending on the direction of the markets. So let's get into this indicator. Just like in the other videos, we're going to use a S&P chart, only this time I'm using a daily chart. I want to show you the larger cycles. It is a better way to illustrate exactly how this indicator works. So let's go up to, as always, to the indicator button at the top. We're going to choose invite only scripts, and then we're going to choose the WaveTech cycle finder. Now you'll see a series of red and blue dots. There's different colors, and they represent different points, whether the projection is happening from a high pattern or a low pattern. And this particular indicator is a Fibonacci cluster indicator. In this video, I'll show you exactly how this calculation is done and the different patterns that it's being projected from. So let's get into the theory of this. Let's discuss the theory of this indicator. What it's doing is projecting out from all the pivot points on the chart this Fibonacci sequence of 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, and so on. This is projecting out each pivot point, and then what it's doing is looking for points where there is a cluster of 3 or more hits on the same bar in the future. So it will mark exactly what's going to happen. So you'll see the indicator all of a sudden show up and mark. You can run this on a real-time chart. On this particular case, I'm going to show you on a daily chart just so you can see where the plots happen. This indicator is best used with other parts of the suite, but this is the calculation that's going on behind the scene. Looking at the indicator and the plots, what we're looking for is key points on the chart. Now this is all in hindsight. If we were running this chart real time, we would see a plot show up as soon as a new bar came in. It would let us know that there's potential cycle, low or high in the pattern. So I'll draw in a couple of these that I think are important. What's happening, just like I said a minute ago, is bars are being projected out from different levels. Where the plot happens, where these dots happen, is where the pivot that it is locating is being calculated from that level. Somewhere back in the past, there was a pivot here, and we also got this to line up here. So there's multiple pivots. There doesn't have to be multiple plots on one spot, but any spot that shows up, there is a cluster of events happening. And a lot of times you'll start to see clustering, like you see all of these dots up here. There's just a lot of different cycles coming in, and oftentimes that is identifying a corrective phase where you're getting a lot of choppy markets. And like I said, this indicator is best used with PPMs and the other parts of the suite. It helps to identify that. But I just want you to understand exactly what this indicator is doing and what it's calculating. Later, I'll show you exactly how to use it.